Hi, I want to give you a little bit of guidance here on how to complete this first lesson plan assignment. I recommend that you watch it in its entirety, and then as you work on your lesson plan, you go back and listen to it again, check on it, make sure you're doing everything that comes up with my expectation. Okay, first off, I have to label it. I mean, you're going to submit it to turn it in, but label the file, the actual file that you upload in to turn it in, as last name, first name, lp1. And I gave you an example there. Okay, make sure it's due before the due date and the time. 5 points be deducted for incorrect file name, so make sure you get that correct. And also 5 points may be deducted for spelling, punctuation, word choice, grammar errors. The assignment is worth 20 points. There's also a video assignment that goes along with it, which is worth another 20 points. And so you work on that as well. So go ahead and create your lesson plan and then do your video also. Now you can't do all this the night before. You have to do some planning and do this ahead of time. You're going to have to do your lesson plan and then do your video. They're both due on the same day. So make sure you don't get behind and make sure you're able to get them done. Okay, your lesson plan will be graded on its completeness and how your statements match the requirements of each section of the plan. I wanted to have the plan a little bit closer here, but I guess the plan itself has to be on a different page. So here we go. Pay special attention to the sections where you see the 2 red stars. Those are the things that you need to fill in. If it doesn't have the 2 red stars, then don't worry about it. Pre-service teacher, that's you. Make sure you put your name in there. Date of the lesson, don't care about that. You can make something up if you want to, but otherwise you can leave that blank. Allocated time, it's going to be for 50 minutes. I set that time. This is a 15-minute lesson. The context, I'm giving you the context. There are 12 students, 2 who speak Arabic in the home, 2 who speak Chinese in the home, 2 who speak Korean in the home, and 2 who speak Spanish in the home. Remember, this is ESL. There are 6 students. 6 of the students are boys and 6 of the students are girls. The physical space, there are 12 individual desks, 2 tables that seat 6 students each, 6 computers, 12 tablets like an iPad, and a smartboard. That's what you have as far as your physical space in the classroom. Okay, content area, grade level. Okay, this is 6th grade at the beginning of a 3-week unit. 6th grade. Remember, these are 6th graders. Don't have them doing kindergarten activities. This is 6th grade. Now for the standards, these are the TEKS and the ELPS. The TEKS is chapter 110.26b for the 6th grade. Follow and give oral instructions that include multiple action steps. Who's giving and following directions? That would be the student, because the TEKS always begin with the student is expected to. Now you can read about that a little more fully, but I'm expecting students to be working on their listening skills. They can do some speaking as well, but the emphasis is going to be on their listening. The ELPS, section C, number 2, letter D. Monitor understanding of spoken language during classroom instruction and interactions and seek clarification as needed. That's related to the TEKS above. So these are your 2 that you're working with and you're going to do your lesson on. You have a lot of freedom. I'm giving you a lot of freedom on coming up with an activity, and you have a lot of freedom as far as your assessments go. I'll give you more about your assessment later. Okay, is the lesson part of the sequence of content. Now this is the lesson plan that the dean had given everybody. I modified it slightly, but it's basically the College of Education, I guess, official lesson plan. I'm not sure. I'm using it for now anyway. Okay, student learning outcome. You need to do something with this. You need to do everything for this one. Okay. Okay, this is where you really get started. Up to this point, all you've had to fill in is your pre-service teacher name, which is you, all the way up, all the stuff in between I've given you, and you need to follow that and assume that. You can't change those things. And now we come to student learning outcomes objectives. Okay, include lower and higher level SLOs, no more than 2 written as measurable instructional objectives. I want you to have 2 objectives. Okay, it says no more than 2. I want 2. Well, you can have 1. You can have 1 objective, or you can have 2 objectives. But make sure that you have good focus on your objective. I'm very happy with 1. Actually, I prefer that you have 1, but you can have 2 if that helps you. Okay, assessment of student learning outcomes objectives. Oh, as far as the SLOs, the objectives, make sure it's written as an instructional objective, not instructional, instructional measurable objective. Okay, you don't want those words like learn or know, understand. Those words do not belong in there. Okay, so make them specific, make them measurable. Okay. Assessment of student learning outcomes, the objectives. How are you going to assess the lesson? This is the backward design that I've taught and you guys are teaching, that you start out with the TEKS, the objectives, and then you go to the assessment. How are you going to assess what they're going to do? How are you going to assess what they're listening, their success in the listening objective that you've made for this assignment specifically? Okay, I'm expecting formative assessment while they are doing the activity, while they are getting the instruction. What kind of formative assessment are you giving? And I'm expecting to find out how you are going to grade them. That would be the summative. So make sure you have a description of how you're going to be doing formative assessment. And I also want to see how you're going to do the summative assessment, which means to measure how well they have accomplished the objective. If you have any questions about that, please give me a call. Okay. I'm not so interested in how you're going to assess students' prior knowledge and learning of the SL. The learning, yes, but the prior knowledge, you can get some of that during your formative assessment, perhaps. But the learning of the SLO above, that's more the summative. Okay, prior knowledge needed. What do students need to know previous to this lesson? There might be things that you've taught before. There's expectations for these students that are coming in here. Go ahead and come up with something. What will they need prior to starting this assignment to be successful with it? Groupings. How will students work during the lesson, and what kind of group setting? Cooperative groups, small groups, alone, whole class? How are you going to do this? Okay. There's probably certain parts of the lesson that are whole class, and there are parts that are going to be small groups, and maybe there's a part where there'll be alone. That's fine. Describe that. It's not one or the other. It can vary during the 50 minutes. And you can go over the word count if you would like. There'll be no penalty for going over the word count, but if it's under the word count, for sure you are not taking this seriously and you need more detail. Differentiation. Okay, now I'm giving you this information. Half the students are at the beginner level in their English language learning, and half are at the intermediate level. You can look up and see what students at the beginner level are able to do and what students at the intermediate level are able to do. How are you going to work differently with those at the beginner and those at the intermediate? Don't worry about special education. Don't worry about those kind of things. And you know that, and I didn't tell you, if there's two of the same language, generally it's not the best idea, not a good idea to have students in an ESL class of the same language working together. Generally, it's better for them to be with students of a different language because it forces them to use their English more, because that's the common language they have. Chinese is not at all related to Korean. They're completely different. Koreans understand Chinese just about the same as you understand Chinese. So that's my recommendation. Academic vocabulary introduced. Go ahead and put 3 to 6 words, depending on the lesson you have, what those might be. Critical higher order thinking. I expect you to have some of this in your lesson. What are some of the questions you might write? What are some of the strategies? May include probing, queuing across different levels. What question strategies you have so that they will be doing critical higher order thinking. It might be the assignment that you give them as well. There might be some questions you ask them during the lesson, and the assignment might be higher level also. For those of you who had me for block 1, you know that I'm always expecting higher level activities. Okay, preparation materials resources include students' use of technology. So go ahead, what are the materials you're going to use? Are you going to have handouts? Is there going to be a book? Are there going to be online sources? What are you going to use? What will you use to teach? What will they need for their assignment? Delivery procedures. Okay, 100 to 150 words. This is the biggest part of the lesson. Is there going to be direct instruction? Are you going to do motivation? Are you going to do the sequence of the lesson? This is the part that you're going to be laying out for me in 100 to 150 words from beginning to end. Give me a description of what you're doing. It doesn't have to be a transcript, doesn't have to write out every little detail. 100 to 150 words is fine, but how are you starting the lesson? How are you teaching the lesson to them, the concept? How are you modeling for them? What activity are they going to be doing? How are you going to close your lesson? I am looking for closures. Sequence of lesson delivery, the transition, summary, closure, all those things. So make sure those things are in there, because otherwise you'll be graded down. I might say you have a weak closure, or you have a weak introduction, or exploration, or discovery, or whatever. So what I used to call anticipatory set, but when I imagine Dr. Gill might be calling engagement or something like that. Okay, so as far as or 5 or 6E, I'm not sure. Okay, but go ahead and write all that out, and that is what you're going to use to, after you have your delivery procedures, you think about it well, and then you have another 20-point assignment. This is 20 points. This is a lot. 20 points is the same as an anticipation guide. So this is going to be, it's the same as a task assignment. And your video is also going to be about the same as another task assignment. So it's like you have 2 tasks a week instead of 1 task a week for the next several weeks. Okay, the video 1 assignment instructions. Name the Dropbox subject box, last name, first name, video 1, example, Anderson, Ron, video 1. You will not be submitting any files. What you'll be doing is you will be giving me an internet link. A URL is going to be submitted to the Dropbox. And so there's going to be an assignment Dropbox in the same area in the assignment where this document is, and submit it before the due date and time. And I sent you an email already, probably, or it's in the syllabus when it's due. 5 points will be deducted for an incorrect file name or subject name. Okay, now create a YouTube channel. Well, you've already done that, probably host your video. Get a friend to record you during your lesson plan procedure beginning for 8 to 10 minute video clip. And so do the first 8 to 10 minutes of your lesson, whatever you're going to do with the kids. It might be good to have a whiteboard, a chalkboard. You might have, what do they call it? You have these large paper, big paper tablet, and you can write on it like you would a chalkboard. Or you can have it written out ahead of time. You might have a PowerPoint that you're showing. So whatever it is, 8 to 10 minutes, the first 8 to 10 minutes of instruction that you are given to these students for the particular lesson plan that you wrote. You don't have to go through the whole lesson plan, just the first 8 to 10 minutes of the 50-minute lesson that you have for the kids. So you're not going to have them doing their group work or anything like that. So upload your unedited clip to your YouTube channel. So don't worry about editing it. Don't worry about doing 2 or 3 times. I'll get the idea. You can make mistakes. I make mistakes. I have the time to edit it out. I have the equipment. I have the program. I paid big money for that. But you don't, and I don't want you spending too much time on this. Just figuring out what you're going to say and saying it and uploading it will be plenty of work. Believe me. Okay. Submit the link to your video in the assignment Dropbox, and then I'll look at it from there. Of course, you can send me a link anytime before it's due, and I can tell you if it's correct or incorrect, how to make it better. I recommend that tips for good recording, go to your camera settings and set it to the smallest picture or resolution. Just because if it's too high quality, it might not accept that much memory. It might you might have troubles with YouTube, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be the smallest. It's just whatever works for you. Have your camera horizontally oriented. If you have it vertically oriented, like standing up, then it looks like you're standing in the doorway and giving your lesson. It shows more area, much more area, when you have it horizontal or side to side, your phone. Okay, have the camera and microphone within 10 feet for better audio quality. Don't have your friend 20 feet away at the back of the classroom, or even 30 feet away. 10 feet away. I want it nice and close. And you might even be able to do that on your own, just sort of set it up and get into that area. But it's best to have a friend, and I know you all have friends. Okay, speak up with your best teacher voice. Show some passion for your content. That you really want to teach us, that you really care about the content, you care about the students. If the students are unresponsive, put words into their mouths. So when you're questioning, ask them the question and then respond to their answer. Of course, I can't hear them, but in your mind, you should be able to hear them. So practice. You're on stage here. You're doing this as if there really are students, and I want you to talk to them as if they are students. And the rubric here will be 20 points total. And we're looking for enthusiasm, the quality of the video, voice strong and recording, moves with and moves with the demonstrative gestures, content accuracy. Content and grammar are 100% accurate. Because this is ESL, your grammar is important when you talk. And I don't want you being a poor model to your students, and I don't want you saying incorrect things, and I'll comment on that if that's the case for this assignment. So good luck with this. If you need more help, please let me know.